One of the most prominent goddesses in Norse mythology. She is the goddess of youth. Her name, in fact, means, the name Iðunn means giver of eternal youth. She is the keeper of mysterious golden apples, which, when eaten by the gods and goddesses, enable them to retain their youth and ward off the process of aging. She keeps them in a basket. They come and get them from her, and these golden apples keep them young until the end of the world. One time, 3 of the Aesir gods, Odin, Loki, and Hymir, were on a journey that took them through desolate mountains far from their home in Asgard. Food was scarce in this uninviting region, and so when the travelers came upon a herd of oxen, they slaughtered one for their dinner. When they put the meat over their fire, however, it didn't cook. No matter how long they left it there, it just wouldn't cook. Perplexed by this, they heard a voice addressing them from above. When they looked up, they saw a very, very large eagle perched on a nearby branch. "It is I who, by my magic, am preventing your catch from cooking. But if you will give me my fill of the meat, I shall release the remainder from my spell." Well, the gods, though irritated, agreed, and the eagle swooped down and took for himself the choicest portions of the ox. Loki thought this to be beyond the terms of their bargain, and in anger he took up a sturdy branch and he lunged at the eagle. The eagle snatched the branch in his talons, and with a very bewildered Loki still clinging to the other end, flew up high into the sky. The now terrified Loki begged the eagle to release him, but the eagle, who turned out to be none other than Thiazi the giant, refused to do so until Loki swore an oath to bring him Iðunn and her golden apples. Later, when the trio arrived back in Asgard at the conclusion of their travels, Loki went to Iðunn, and he told her that he had found fruits even more marvelous than her own, growing in a forest beyond the walls of Asgard, and that she should follow him there and bring her apples for comparison. Iðunn fell for it and followed the trickster. And when she reached the wood, she was borne up into the air by Thiazi in his eagle form, and taken away to the giant's abode. This place is called Thrymheim, Thunder Home. And it is situated among the highest mountain peaks, whose icy towers glare down at the fertile fields below. Meanwhile, back in Asgard, in Idunn's absence, the gods and goddesses began to notice the effects of old age creeping up on them. Their skin was growing wrinkled, their hair graying, and their vigor waning. Odin went to the tree that fruits immortality, and he reached up. But only Iðunn could harvest these apples. And so, the gods and the goddesses, they assembled together, and they asked one another about the circumstances under which Iðunn had last been seen. It was reported that the last sighting of her had been leaving Asgard with Loki. Loki was then seized and threatened with all manner of pains if he didn't tell them what had become of the fair goddess. Loki spilled his story, and the gods informed him that if he couldn't rescue Iðunn from Thiazi, then he would be put to death. All right, fine, I'll go. But I'll have need of Freya's hawk cloak. With this cloak, one can shapeshift into a hawk. Reluctant as she was to do so, Freya laid her hawk cloak over his shoulders. She smoothed the feathers out along his arms, and then he shrank and turned into the hawk. Now, at this point, he flew off, and he headed into the direction of Jotunheim, the realm of the giants, within which lies Thrymheim. And when he arrived there, he found to his great delight that Thiazi had gone out to sea to fish and had left Iðunn home alone. She was sitting in the garden, her head in her hands, basket of apples by her side. And she looked up as the hawk landed in front of her. "Shh, I've come to take you home." Without losing a minute, Loki spread his wings and he whispered the runes, creating the shell of a nut which encased Iðunn and her basket of apples. And then it shrank to the size that a hawk could carry. Loki grasped the nut in his talons, and off they flew into the air. Now, it just so happened that right at that time, Thiazi was returning from his fishing trip, and he looked up and saw them. "That's no hawk!" And he too donned a feathered cloak. And an eagle he became once again. He filled the air with the thunderous roar of his wings as he sped off toward Asgard in pursuit. Now, by the time the god was in sight of his home, the giant was close behind him and closing the gap. The eagle was fast, but the hawk more agile. He was darting this way and that until they saw the walls of Asgard. And when Loki's companions caught sight of the chase, they quickly built a pile of kindling around their fortress, and on Odin's command, the gods lit the fire. It exploded rapidly. The hawk and the nut approached, the eagle close behind, and the wall of flames reached up into the sky and licked the sky. But this is Loki, clever, mischievous, able to find the loophole in any situation. And he found the hole in that wall of flame. And so he folded back his wings and he flew through. The eagle did not. Thiazi was frantically flapping his wings, trying to slow himself to avoid the flames, but this only fanned them. And Thiazi crashed into the walls of Asgard and crumpled to ash as he fell to the ground. Loki returned triumphantly to his usual form, still holding the nut. He whispered the runes. The nut grew. The shell opened, and Iðunn stepped forth, opening her basket and handing each god and goddess who were showing these signs of aging, handed each of them a golden apple. they're green, but I figure they were. So I just wanted to say very quickly, for any of you who like bakeries in Julian, I parked my car here. I drove